Yay, we are live. Oh, let me get adjusted. There we go. Hi, guys. Happy Saturday. All right, settings look good. Hey, Tracy. Hi. Hello, Robin. Oh, yay. I'm so glad you were able to catch us too. Yes. Hello, Goat Girl. I love your name. Nez JT. Rini Satyam. Hi. Hey, guys. Welcome. Oh, put that out. I hope everybody can hear me okay. It says the settings are good on my end, but no way to know for sure. Hey, symptoms. Good brunch time, indeed. Cheers to that. Indeed. John, welcome. Welcome. Apollo, welcome back. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. This is my highlight. I love, love, love joining you guys on this beautiful Saturday. I hope everybody is having an amazing weekend wherever in the world you are. Here in California, it finally stopped raining. We finally got sun and it is gorgeous. Oh man, it's so pretty. I'm about to bombard my Instagram with all the pretty pictures. So brace yourself, guys. Sound is perfect. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cosmos United. Aw. Welcome. I'm glad you could join us. Hey, Michael. Oh, so much love. We've got people coming in at a rapid pace. I am going to give it just a moment longer to let people kind of cycle in and join, but then we'll go ahead and dive into some Q&As. Get talking about law. Robin, oh my God, congratulations. Oh, congrats on the job offer. Hell yes, girl. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. It is so good to see you. Hello, Inked Beautiful. I love your name too. That is an awesome username. Already diving into some questions. Hello, Fuku. Oh, thank you guys so much again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me for another round of Q&As. I am feeling amazing. I hope you guys are as well. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and start jumping in. We already got some questions coming in, so I don't want to scroll too far behind. Before we dive in, really quick updates related to the coaching program coming up. So I'm actually due to the move, I just moved to California across the country earlier in the month, still getting settled, but trying to play catch up as quickly as possible. And the coaching program was supposed to start this upcoming Monday, the 23rd. It is going to be officially starting now on the 30th. And I'm so sorry to have to do that, but it's just so I can get everything caught up. There's going to be a couple new additions to that program. So if you are still interested in registering, there is still time to do so. I've got all that information down in the description box. If you have registered and I have not reached out with an invitation, let me know. Give me a heads up about that. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's 12 weeks. We get to hang out and have a whole lot of fun and manifest a whole bunch of cool stuff. So all that's down below, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm going to try to get to as many people as possible. If If I accidentally miss you, if I don't see it, because the chat is constantly moving, so I'm having to try to find my place. I do apologize in advance, but I'm gonna try to get to as much as I can. All right. Let's do this. Congrats again on the success, Robin. That is awesome to hear. Let me see. I've been watching your videos, and honestly, it looks like you're getting younger. You are so sweet. Thank you. You know, that's funny. That's actually the second time somebody's commented something around those lines. Um, Earlier, I heard somebody say that they thought I was in my 20s, which is so sweet. But thank you. I age backwards because time is not real. All right, getting serious now. Where are we? Oh, go girl. I hope you've been safe from the effects of the weather. I have. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a doozy out here. Um, and of course, it's right around the time that we move. But thankfully, where I live in this neighborhood area, it has not been affected, thankfully. A couple areas nearby have, unfortunately, but I'm actually going to be doing some volunteer work this weekend to help with cleanup for a couple sites that experience some pretty nasty stuff. But thankfully, I'm doing okay. Partner's doing okay. Cat's doing okay. So we're good. Thank you, though. Would you be willing to discuss what sites and books you've read slash listened to Neville to learn so much? Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, I guess if you are new to Neville and you have not read a whole lot from him or by him, I would recommend starting out with the Complete Reader. It's got all 10 of his books in one big collection. I actually, hang on. I've always got it right by my bedside. Looks like this. It's like 20, 25 bucks on Amazon, and it's the best money you'll ever spend. So that's a good starting point. If you haven't read any of his books, I definitely recommend starting with Feeling is the Secret or The Power of Awareness. Those are both pretty beginner friendly, and I mean, worth its weight in gold. Another site that has a ton of his lectures is a site called realneville.com, and it's got, I mean, a lot. It's got plenty of lectures to keep you busy for a while. And then, of course, if you prefer to listen to him versus read read it in words, YouTube channels. If you just type in Neville Goddard lecture in his voice, there's a lot of channels that have a ton of resources of him, speaking out the lectures, so you can listen to it. They also have audiobooks and whatnot. But yeah, realneville.com and The Complete Reader to start. I am so excited to things to come to fruition. I feel like the floodgates are open now. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Jade has a good question. First time here. Welcome. I notice how people around me are conforming to my self concept. I believe that my SP is on their way conforming too. Though not seeing it in 3D, how to keep my faith. Yeah, that ultimately part of this practice is building our faith. It's in part strengthening that imagination muscle that I keep talking about, but the other part is building our faith. That is such an important part of this process, to keep us from wavering and becoming double-minded. The biggest thing that I'd recommend is testing the law, testing it, proving it to yourself. That's going to be, I mean, hands down the best way to actually keep building your faith. Because I mean, I could talk to all of you all day. You can watch all the videos in the world. You can have a knowing and understanding of this, but it's when you experience it that it actually begins to solidify. So, testing the law, and there's a couple ways to do that. I've actually made some videos talking about that. My most recent one, I talk about self observation and specifically comparing that inner world to the outer world and paying attention to both what is going on internally and what's going on externally. So you will start to see in real time the connection between the two. Oh, lost my spot. Oh, it keeps moving me around. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Hi, Missy Renee. How can we believe in parallel realities slash states? It's a big concept to swallow. It is. Absolutely, it is. And I mean, really, that's one of those things that's going to be the more that you continue on this journey, you're going to start seeing it for yourself. And it's when you start to experience these types of things that you're going to grow to believe it. Now, that's not to say that you have to believe in states and realities to manifest, because states and realities exist whether or not. Even if we don't have that conviction, they're always there. But it is one of those things that, yeah, until it's been an experience that you've had, it may be a bit wobbly, and that's okay. That's okay. But you're going to start noticing things like people changing, people sometimes radically changing, like showing up a completely different character. You may start noticing little glitches in the matrix and things like that. But you will get indications because you're going to be more and more aware of what's actually happening and what's going on. Should we frequently step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it becomes our dominant dwelling state? Is that how it works? Yes, that is exactly how it works. I mean, you pretty much summarized it verbatim. I know may not always seem that easy, but the gist of it is what you just said. Yeah, we, frequently or as many times as we can, as we are able to move into that state, into that feeling of that wish fulfilled until it becomes normal for us, until it becomes our embodiment and it's somewhere that just feels like home. But that's exactly right. Oh, yeah, the movie Everywhere and Everything All at Once is wild and awesome, and I recommend it. It does do a great job of the portrayal of parallel realities, and it's also just a really fun watch. I am aging backwards. That's an affirmation of yours? Awesome. Oh, thank you, Michael. Sorry, guys, the chat keeps moving. Hang on. Trying out revision after finally learning how to from your videos and on long-term beliefs, but I can't really remember things from my childhood. Any tips on that? Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So trying to revise things from childhood that you may not remember. And that's okay because first there's many different ways that we can revise and that we can apply revision, and one of those being that if there are memories that you don't recall or sort of maybe pockets or windows that you don't remember, you can sort of fill in the blanks, right? So instead of taking an old memory and rewriting it, you can just create a whole new memory, right? So you can just write in what you would have rather had experienced instead, whatever that might be, whatever that might look like. You can write a whole new story. That is also very much the thing you can do. So there's multiple ways to do it, but I would recommend just, yeah, if you can't remember, that's okay. Just write it out as you would have liked to have imagined it or what you would have liked to have experienced. if that makes sense. Um, Hi, Missy. Do you suggest sorry. Do you suggest taking time to get rid of your resentment when trying to manifest your SP back? We broke up last month and I occasionally experience the old story. I absolutely recommend that. Yes, absolutely. Resentment is, I mean, something that everybody experiences, and if things had happened that led you to feel resentful, that's, you know, I'm never dismissing that. I'm never saying that that's something that should be just tossed aside because what you feel and what you've experienced is a thing and it's valid. But um, yeah, what we want to avoid is the recreation of anything from that old state, right? And that is in big part why I failed the first time I tried to, well, failed. Why the first time I manifested my specific person back, I still had a lot of resentment myself, in both in him and in me. And sure enough, that played out. So if there are things of the old story that we're harboring to and that are not ideal, then absolutely we would want to revise that. Yeah. How hard was it for you to enter the I am state for the first time? How did you know when you were there? Great question. No, that it took a while. It took a minute. I mean, I don't remember exactly how much time or how many tries, but it was a lot. And I do remember starting to feel impatient, like, okay, what's the point here? Let's get on with the show already. Um, yeah, it was, but what I realized I was doing was, again, I was kind of trying to get to a certain place, or I was focused way too much on that. So when I was relaxing and I was trying to go into that meditative state, that that quiet place, I was still very much like tensed up and trying to get to that place. And it doesn't really work like that. Because when it did happen the first time, it was completely out of the blue. I was not expecting it. And I knew I was there because I felt what Neville had described as that feeling of expansion. I mean, first it felt like I was dropping off, kind of that sensation that some of us get when you feel like you're about to fall, or that sort of like sinking stomach. It's not pleasant, but it was very quick. Um, and then it felt like expansion. It felt like I was bigger than my body for sure. Like I didn't have boundaries anymore. I was no longer confined to my body or my room. It's kinda hard to put it into words, but I mean, it was I impossible to miss. That's for sure. Oh, you guys are so sweet. I draw a lot of inspiration from your story. Oh, did you ever have to deal with a third party on your journey? How did you handle it? Seeing SP with third party I created makes me wanna give up. And that is an incredibly frustrating feeling. Um, and I do get that. I do get that. There was not a third party as in, like, a dominant relationship. There was once that I do recall, um, seeing a few photos of what some would perceive and what I would normally perceive, I guess, before all of this, as a third party. Um, I completely rejected it. I just completely flat out was like, "Nope, not accepting that." Though, admittedly, I was already in a place where I felt confident enough in myself that there was no other outcome that was possible. I did feel that. And not to say that you have to feel that sort of conviction and degree for it to manifest for you, not at all. But for me personally, and what I do recommend is in any notion or, you know, thought of a third party, any proof of a third party, wholeheartedly reject that. Don't accept it. What's the best approach to eliminate the falsity of completion in the ego mind? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, John? Because I want to make sure I understand, but that sounds like a fascinating question. Best approach to eliminate the falsity of competition. Duh. I thought it. Yeah, I read completion. To eliminate the falsity of competition. So, how to get rid of competition in the ego mind? That comes with seeing and experiencing everyone as you pushed out. And, again, admittedly, even knowing about this, we may still have those subconscious reactions because that is where we've been dwelling for a very long time. So even if we have a knowing and understanding about the law, it may be for an initial period of time that you react to it. You react to competition because, that's subconscious and that is kind of the subconscious conditioning that we've been subjected to for years, if not decades. But the more that you start to see that everyone is, in fact, you pushed out, and this is again where going back to faith and going back to testing this and really proving it and experiencing it for yourself, every time you see something that you know that you deliberately manifested, it's only going to encourage that. And especially when it comes to the behavior of other people and how other people show up for us, because to eliminate the idea of competition, it really does come down to having that deep understanding of everyone is you pushed out, right? That if I'm the script writer, if I'm the producer, director, and screenwriter, then how on earth could there be competition? Unless I put it there, which in that case, it's not even technically competition, right? So that is something that comes on this journey. But I would focus on really paying attention to the interactions that you have with other people and what is the internal dialogue around different people. Basically start to really observe in order to build the faith, right? So observation so we can start seeing the connections between the internal and the external world, mainly in this case regarding people, right? So that's really the best thing that I would do specifically for that. Hi, Missy. So I noticed that whenever I try to revise, the old memory overcomes me, and whenever I try to dwell on the new story with SP, my mind takes me to the old story. Any advice? Yeah. So there are going to be some memories or some events that have more of an impact or stick to us more than others, obviously. Um, if this is the case where you're finding it difficult to revise because that old memory keeps popping up, um, I would suggest, revising other things that maybe are not so seemingly big or attached to the main desire that you're trying to manifest. Again, just to start really showing yourself that revision is something that works and getting the idea. So, revising other things. Um, the other thing that I did that was really helpful for me was when I would go into imagine or go into revise, if I felt a lot of resistance to what I was imagining, I would try to change my perspective and try to change my approach in that I wasn't trying to go in to change something. Like I wasn't sitting there trying to fight with my mind that, no, this is the new memory now. Like I'm trying to change this outcome. Because admittedly, at first, yeah, I had struggles believing that. It just didn't feel believable. My mind kept saying, yeah, right, that's not what happened, and you know it. So I decided to start actually approaching it like, okay, I'm want to go here in imagination because it feels nice to do. Not for the expectation that something different's going to happen, not to try to change anything, but strictly because I would enjoy feeling this thing instead. And that's really it. And that actually relieved a lot of resistance around anything that I was struggling to imagine or to manifest. So yeah, I would try revision with other things to start to really get some momentum and some wins, so to speak, and then try to approach it not from the place of trying to change anything or manifest anything, but just because you can go anywhere in imagination to feel better because it feels nice. Yeah. And it may take several tries to revise before that new memory begins to stick. And that's another thing. If we revise once or twice and it's still that old memory keeps coming back, we got to keep going. Other techniques other than SATs that help make the state natural. It feels like it still takes effort. Yeah, I'm going to actually make another video on SATs because, I mean, A, it's been a minute since I've made a video covering that topic, and B, I noticed that there's still a lot of effort that people are trying to put into doing SATs, and it's supposed to be effortless, but I get that it's easier said than done. It is a process because it's something that we're not used to. We've never really done this before. So it is kind of getting familiar and acclimated, and just like with anything that's new, it is gonna take some practice, but in the I guess if you're looking to explore other techniques or other methods or tools, my favorite go-to is "Isn't It Wonderful?" or the lullaby method as it's sometimes called. Um, I Remember When is one that has been really helpful. Those 2 being my personal favorites. Those ones really helped me. Other than SATs, those 2 were incredibly helpful with helping me to maintain that more natural state. Yeah. Oh, thank you, classy lady. Oh, Manny. Thank you for the super chat. You are amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, going back up. Oh my god! By the way, I manifested marriage with a new SP. We got married last month. It happened so quickly, everything within a few months. He is just like I imagined. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Oh, oh my god, congratulations. Oh, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. You are so welcome. Yay. I love it. Oh, seriously, sincerely, congrats. That is amazing to hear. How to keep slash sustain our manifestation once it comes in. SB has come in before, but I got anxious and he left. I am so sorry. I personally know what that feels like, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Um, and that's really my main focus is not just to manifest or how to manifest, but how to maintain it, how to keep it around. Because this is incredibly easy to fall back into, and it sucks. Same thing happened to me. Once we get our manifestation, we may kind of lose track or get too comfortable and revert right back into old ways and old patterns of being. Um, Really, the best way to approach a situation like that is, first and foremost, always go back to that first principle, to be still and know that I am God. Reminding yourself of who you are, and that in your reality, you have the power. You hold the power here, no matter what it looks like on the outside, right? Because we lose track of that. We lose sight of that first principle, and we kind of, you know, quietly go back into old ways and old patterns of being. Um, that being the biggest one, and really maintaining that new state of consciousness. So basically, a continuation of your practice and of those reminders. Once your manifestation comes in, that may not be the best time to just stop everything and forget about the law. And sadly, that's what happens a lot. Um, so moving back into that state, and then with the consistency of making sure you get as familiar with that state and as resonant with that state until it does eventually become your dominant state. And once you have a new dominant state of consciousness, you're not going to be reverting back to anything because that is your home base. So really, it's about continuing moving back into that feeling of the state of the wish fulfilled until you naturally do it, until you're not falling back onto old habits and old patterns and checking the 3D and all of that. And I guess that is sort of your indication, right? If you're aware that you're starting to react and respond in the ways that you used to, like, for example, that anxiety that you described, that's sort of a way to, check the feedback of like, oh, okay, where is that stemming from? I definitely don't want to hang out here. So that's indication that I need to move back into that state, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, first and foremost, you know, go to that first principle, remember who you are, move back into that state of the wish fulfilled, continue to do that even after they come in. Continue to do that until you're not even consciously doing it anymore. You're just naturally gravitating to that new state of consciousness. Yeah, but that's sort of the highlight of my teachings because I see way too much this happen, and it happened to me. So, but know that you got this, no matter what. If you can create something, you can uncreate it or do something else as well. Missy, if your SP and you are no contact, and it appears they have made you a villain in their mind, is my goal to wait out them changing their mind or focus on how I perceive our relationship? Definitely, definitely the latter. Focus on how you perceive the relationship because everything is a mirror of you. Everything is a mirror. So if somebody is, you know, reacting and showing up in a certain way, that is feedback as to what we are entertaining, consciously or not. So that would absolutely be indication of, okay, I need to do a check-in here. Where is this stemming from? How am I perceiving this? Why am I perceiving this? And then changing that perspective, turning away from that and turning your attention onto something else entirely, because it's 100% our perception. 100%. Greetings from Brazil, Missy. Greetings. Greetings, Nanda. I cannot visualize. Can I remember when replace the imaginal scenes? Absolutely. Absolutely. And visualization is not a prerequisite to manifest. If you struggle with visualization, which a lot of people do, a lot of people struggle with it. It is absolutely, for me personally, and for many people that I've talked to, that is not something that typically comes naturally because we haven't spent much time doing it. Right? So that is a muscle that we build. But in the meantime, you can absolutely use I remember when, you can use affirmations. So long as they resonate with you, you can use uh, the why am I blanking? The lullaby method, or isn't it wonderful? So yeah, there's many different ways and many techniques that will help you to move into that wish fulfilled. It doesn't have to be strictly visualization. Oh, you're not being a bother, Mohammed. You're fine. How to manifest a miracle, and what is the best way to do that? So I take it that you mean manifesting something that feels very difficult to obtain or something that would be miraculous. Um, Honestly, the best way to do that is the way that resonates the most with you. And I know that's probably not the most helpful answer, but the best method for me may not at all be the best method for you. A part of this is really the exploration of what helps us to feel that state of the wish fulfilled the most, or what helps us to suspend disbelief the best, right? So the path of least resistance, basically, whether that is affirming, visualizing in the state akin to sleep, um, or any other method or tools, um, that's going to be a bit different for everybody. But I would explore with each and see which one helps you to get you into that feeling, the feeling of that state of the wish fulfilled, what helps get you there most, and keep with that one. And at all times, mind your mental diet, and that goes for anyone and everyone. That one is a universal one. Always mind your mental diet. Do you revise through scripting? You can. Yeah, absolutely. Many people, when doing the Neville ladder exercise, do not believe they were going to climb the ladder. Does it mean we don't need to believe in order to manifest? I mean, in part, yes. So the reason that, and that was a very clever exercise on Neville's part, because the reason that he went with a ladder is because nobody's going to have any internal conflict about climbing a ladder, right? Nobody's going to have any kind of, you know, massive resistance to a ladder. It's something that most people are pretty indifferent about. Um, so even if we don't believe that it's going to happen, we don't have anything in conflict. We don't believe that, like, how do I put this? We're just kind of, about it. And with that, when you don't have any conflicts with what you are imagining, then it will impress and come to pass like no problem, right? Because we're not being double-minded about it. There's nothing to be double-minded about. So it's not that you have to believe that you're going to climb the ladder. We're just kind of like whatever about it. But if we have anything that is in conflict with any other desire that we have, if it feels like there's struggles or difficulty to believe that, our person's going to come, or if we struggle and believe in ourselves and things like that, then that is where we want to, really be mindful of building that faith. And when I say faith, I mean faith in the law, not necessarily faith in what you are doing specifically, but faith that the law works. Because you have faith in the law, you can apply it to anything. I hope that made sense. That's a really good question, though. Why do some desires manifest without entering the Sabbath? Is it true if I enter the Sabbath, the 3D can no longer phase me and I naturally let go? So, to the first part of your question, why do some desires manifest without entering the Sabbath? Is because every desire has its appointed hour. And yeah, I've had manifestations come to pass where I never entirely reached the Sabbath, I guess. I was still kind of like, I don't know. Um, so is it a requirement to enter the Sabbath first? No. But we want to persist until we notice that Sabbath and or we notice the manifestation come to pass. Now, however, just because we get the manifestation does not mean we should just drop off everything either. So it's always something to be mindful about. Is it true if I enter the Sabbath, the 3D can no longer phase me and I naturally let go? Well, the second part, naturally letting go, yes, that does happen. The 3D no longer phasing you, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Um, it is possible to fall out of the Sabbath, yes, but that is okay because we can always get right back in there, right? So when you are in the Sabbath, you are not going to feel the need to continue doing techniques or feeling like you need to do something in order to manifest because it's going to feel like it's done. If you fall out of that state, we just want to get back to it. That's all. I hope that made sense. Courtney, I'm sending you that recording right now. I got it uploaded. I saw your message. Bam, sent. You should have that. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. Oh, thank you, Monica. You are so sweet. Thank you. Is it possible to enter the I am state through lucid dreaming? Is it possible to shift to another reality through lucid dreaming? Could you talk a little bit more about lucid dreaming and manifestation? Yeah. All of the above. Yes. Um, well, the I am state, I mean, yes, you could enter it through lucid dreaming, I guess. Typically, I get there through meditation. Um, but shifting realities or quantum jumping, as some people call it, uh, yeah, that happens through lucid dreaming. Absolutely. I do need to make a video talking about lucid dreaming. You are so welcome. John, you can manifest any change in your physical appearance. You know this. Where was I? I've become really good at visualizing and feeling to the point when it's shocking when I wake up, but then I really struggle to maintain it. I can't stay there for long. Any tips? Absolutely. Well, so, I mean, first off, congratulations on getting the visualization better and feeling it to the point where that shock comes to you when you wake up. Um, if the 3D is still affecting you, if it feels like you are struggling to maintain that feeling, which is again, it is super common. I think we all have a very, very strong degree of attachment to the 3D because we've been living in this 3D world and that's what we're used to experiencing, right? Um, that being the case, I'm gonna make a video kind of diving more into detachment, um, and specifically some things that we can do to help us, and that's mainly for our day to day. So if we encounter something, if we react to something that's not ideal, how to not react and get attached to it and, ultimately spiral from it. And that is one of the most important things, at least for me in my journey, that was one of the most important things, was really starting to practice that detachment from everything going on around me. Like, being able to observe objectively, without judgment, without attachment, which admittedly comes easier said than done, especially at first. But the more that we can practice that separation of your ego, essentially, in the 3D world, and awareness, which is who you actually are, you won't find yourself getting as triggered and stumbling and spiraling and all of that. But I am going to come out with a video talking more about that. It's been a long time since I made a video about that, so that one is coming soon. But practice with, first and foremost, the observation, right? Just try to see things, try to, like, watch your mind throughout your day to day, and whatever comes in, even if it's something that's nasty, like, don't freak out and try to, like, run around to deal with it or scramble to deal with it. Just observe it. Just practice getting into the mode of the observer. Practice getting in the mode of the observers and start to see it objectively as much as you possibly can. Hi, Missy. Can you talk about the state of having it all and how you get into it? How does it cover everything? Um, so I think what you're referring to is the state of having it all. So the more general state, I take it, um, and that actually is my go-to, I guess, method, is the lullaby method, or Isn't It Wonderful? Because it's a very general feeling, but it's a powerful one. And for me, I meditate or dwell in that state of gratitude and satisfaction. And I don't often, well, I mean, if I have a specific desire, I will visualize, I will imagine it. But as my daily routine, I just focus on the general state of gratitude and satisfaction, because that covers all of your bases, right? Like, if you are giving thanks to something, if you are feeling grateful, that means that you are thankful for something that's happened that's good, right? If you are feeling satisfied, that implies that everything is going well for you. And that's going to start to manifest into different areas of your life. So, definitely something like the lullaby method, aka Isn't It Wonderful? Which I do have a meditation that I just started working on for that. Uh, that's going to be coming out after the I am meditation, and that one is coming, I promise. I appreciate your patience, you guys. It has been one hell of a move, but all of that is coming. But yeah, try Isn't It Wonderful? Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you for joining. Totally lost my spot. Why does our ego slash the old man like us to stay in a state of fear slash lack, and how to shift from this permanently? That's a good observation. So, and I did make a video talking about ego backlash. It was a couple months ago, but I don't remember the title of that video. Damn. But essentially, why is that? Why does that happen? It's to maintain the status quo. Your ego's job is self-preservation, and specifically the preservation of self. So who you have identified as, who you have felt you are, your beliefs, your assumptions, all of these convictions, basically your self-concept. Another name for it is ego. It is the sense of I, right? Like Missy Renee and everything that comes with being Missy Renee, that's my ego. And the ego's job is self-preservation, like keeping the sense of self alive. And that is with everything that comes with it, whether we like it or not, right? And there is, a lot of functions that the ego serves. It's obviously it's the reason we can have this human experience. Without it, we couldn't. So the ego is not inherently a bad guy. It's just if there are certain things that we have grown attached to, we have grown, into a belief or assumption, it's detachment from those aspects. So the state of fear and lack, I mean, that's really the defense mechanism or protection of the status quo, basically. And how to shift from this permanently? Imagination. Imagination, imagination, imagination. I was in a situationship with a family friend for 3 years. She left me for the third party I created. I feel I need to cut contact while manifesting as I find seeing her too triggering. Do you think that's okay? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you encountering and interacting with your SP while you are manifesting, while you are, working to move into that state, if that is causing you to feel pain or frustration or anger or sadness, then absolutely. I had to do that. I had to do that in my journey. I had to reach out and tell my person, like, hey, I really need some time for me right now. I'm going through a lot. I'm going through my healing process. And he respected that, of course, but I really needed that because every time I saw that confirmation of something unwanted in the 3D, it was like a knife through my heart. So and trying to juggle that felt like a struggle. Now, that's not to say that you don't have to cut out. If you're in contact with your person, you don't have to cut them out. But if it is causing you to, feel like you're spiraling or upsetting, I do recommend it. Yeah. No, you're the best. Is it possible that my SP knows I am manifesting him? I can't go past his voice and me trying to block me from doing it. Most people have their own voice stopping them, but mine is SP and other people. I've actually had moments that like what you're describing. Is it possible that your SP knows you're manifesting him? I mean, not unless you tell him. No. um, there is no power outside of you that can stop you. Ultimately, there's no one else that can up one you or outdo you in the 3D. Mm, not at all. At what point were you at mentally when you first entered the I am state? Were you still frustrated about how hard it was at that time? Oh god. I don't I don't remember. I don't remember what I was feeling right beforehand. I don't think I was feeling or focusing on anything. I maybe noticing that I was a little bit hungry, but that was about it. And it really just came out of nowhere. Like, just no anticipation. I think I was actually maybe partly distracted when it happened, and it was like whoosh. But yeah, I don't remember. Twin flames are not real. We are the I am state, aren't we? It's not something we enter, it's who we actually are. Ding, 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 ding. We are the I am state. Yes. I and my father are one. We are awareness. That is who we are. When we talk about entering the I am state, it's actually more about just stripping back, or, the best way I could describe it is bringing your attention back to the sense of being. and not anything else, because it's underneath all these layers of identity and all of the things that we think we are. That is where awareness dwells, if you can kind of see that visual representation. But um, yeah, it's nothing that exists outside of us. Like, we're not trying to like get there. It's more that focus on being. And that's I guess what I was trying to explain earlier. Like, I kept trying to like do something, take an action to get somewhere. But that's not how this works. Not how this works. And it's when you stop trying that you finally, like, all of these layers of identity and belief and assumption just melt away. Absolutely, one. Yeah, I'm gonna make another video about detachment. It has been a long time, and it's definitely a subject I need to revisit again. Do you think that it's true that the 3D gets worse before your manifestation comes? I mean, it can. It certainly can if you're experiencing any kind of ego backlash. But does it have to, or does it always do that? No. Mm-mm. The Chimp Paradox, yes. That is a great book. The Chimp Paradox by Dr. Steve Peters, yeah. That is a good one. I keep going in and out of states. How to consistently remain in that state? Well, you're going to do that. We're always moving in and out of states. We're never just in one state all the time. It's where we move back to, right? So notice how we all have sort of our um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like a homeostasis, right? Like, what is your default mode? That's kind of the dominant state. You may have moments where, like, for example, I could be, you know, actually suffer from depression most of the time, but that doesn't mean I might not have a good day once in a while. I can move into a state of happiness, but it's going to be momentarily, and then I'm typically going to go right back to that default state. So yeah, we're always moving in and out of states. It's just the practice of continuation, getting familiar with that new state. So just going back there whenever you realize that you've fallen out of it, go back to it. And it will ultimately become your dominant state. But does it mean that you're never going to move into another state again? Of course not. We're always moving. That's why it drives me nuts when people say you have to be positive all the time. That is absolutely not true. Some dreams feel like I've traveled to a different reality, and it makes this 3D experience feel foreign for a while. Like, that was real and this isn't. Have you experienced that? Is it a thing? Yes, I have experienced what you're describing. Um, yeah. Some dreams feel like you've traveled to a different reality, and it makes this 3D experience feel foreign. Absolutely, I've experienced that. Yeah. You will get more used to or acclimated to traveling, but yeah, I felt super wobbly and wonky when I first started moving within the worlds between worlds or worlds within worlds. Yeah, it was nuts. At first, it felt like I don't know what's going on, what is real anymore. Um, yeah, it was wild. But eventually you do get used to it. You do get used to it. Things can always go back to normal. Absolutely. I had a very emotional week before getting my offer for the job. Is this common to see such emotions a few days before? Then bam, it happens. Yeah. So absolutely, we can notice that things might feel wobbly for a minute before like in hindsight, you might notice that yes, things might seem to have appeared to fall apart a little bit before it showed up. That absolutely can happen. Does it always happen like that? No. No, but it can. Absolutely. And, I need to go back and remember what the hell that video title was called, but I made a video talking about ego backlash, and that's, in a sense, what is going on there. Well, if it feels gone, I would focus on the feeling of what that was like when like, always be mindful of what you are feeling. Feeling is the secret. It truly is the secret. So, what we are focused on, what we are feeling, what we are entertaining, these are all things that are going to manifest. So, if we are feeling something that is not ideal, we want to the best of our ability, again, we don't always have to be perfect at this, but when we can and to the best of our ability, shift the focus and shift how we are feeling, right? And this is where imagination comes in because guys, there is no limitations to what you can experience in imagination. You can go anywhere. You can go anywhere in your imagination. There are no limits. And this is why it is your center power. This is your master control switch. Like this is the thing. Your imagination is everything. Use that to become embodied with that state again. And you can always do that. Whatever you're feeling right now does not mean that it's final and it can never change. That never means that. Ever. Ever. I struggle to come up with a scene that feels real that implies that I have financial abundance. Any ideas, please? So if you're struggling with the scene, you can always try you can try other methods. You can try other ways. If you mean that visualization has been difficult for you to obtain and to like attach to it or feel it, you can try other methods. You can try again, isn't it wonderful? You can try I remember when. I remember when I couldn't afford to pay the bills and how stressful that was. I remember when, I was living paycheck to paycheck. Everything that implies that you are no longer in that state, right? You can use affirmations, finding any that resonate with you. So that there's many different ways, and I wouldn't try to, force ourselves to, visualize a scene thinking that we're going to get there through by willpower or sheer force, because that's going to feel incredibly difficult to do. Absolutely, Tracy. Is the worlds within worlds the same as this reality or quantum shifting? Or is it strictly lucid dreaming and limited to the confines of dreaming? No, it is not lucid dreaming. It is what some people call quantum shifting. Yes. Do you think it's possible to manifest a change in someone's sexuality? Yes, you can manifest a change in anyone. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh crap, I'm losing track of the time. I do have to get going here shortly, unfortunately. But let me try to find. I got time for maybe one or two more. What are the things you can do to live in the end when manifesting SP? Like, how do you pretend you're dating someone? So this isn't so much about pretending, right? Um, that you're dating somebody. It's about the imagination, like understanding that the imagination is what creates our reality. So it's not that we have to pretend that somebody is in the 3D with us in our day to day, like we've got an invisible friend with us. I mean, you can if that resonates, but I know for many people that's going to make you feel a little delusional. Um, so it's not that we have to do anything like that. Um, but some things that we can do is, again, always start with a question of what would it be like in this reality, in this state where the two of us are together? What would that look like? What is the version of me showing up like? What's the version of him showing up like? And really just get familiar with that. Start fleshing that out and really getting as acclimated as you can to that state of consciousness. And then we go there in imagination, right? We go and really try to hone in on what that feels like. And the more that you get descriptive with it, the more that you begin to just play with this, you're going to start to naturally embody it. It will come to you. So that's more about what we do to live in the end. And again, that's what the techniques are for. They're tools to help us live in the end, help us suspend any disbelief or doubt. So I would play around and experiment with different techniques to see which resonates with you and helps you to maintain that. Of course. How does one manifest international conflicts between nations when one does not even think about those things? Thank you for entertaining my questions. So yeah, when things on the macro scale, like world events and things like that, I actually do have a video that's going to be ready for release soon, covering that topic, because that dives more into how I and my father are one, but the father is greater than I, right? Like Missy Renee did not cause the, you know, the war in Ukraine or anything like that, but that's a topic for another day. Like it's you're so much bigger than you think you are. Let me just put it that way. But keeping your eye out for the video. Um, going way more into it that way. Because I know it's challenging for people to comprehend, and that's a common thing of like, well, if I manifest everything in my world, then I must have manifested all these terrible things and people dying and people starving, and it's not that simple. It's not that simple. But I do have a video. It's almost finished, and that will be coming out here soon because that's one that I get often. But what I can say right now is I and my father are one, but the father is greater than I. And that has a lot to do with it. Oh, Cosmos, that's wonderful. So many new videos. Yeah, guys, it's been kind of a ghost town around my channel because A, moving, but B, I do have a ton of content that I've gone ahead and recorded that I could start lining up and having it releasing on a consistent schedule twice a week. That's been a big thing that I've been focused on this month and really just ramping a lot of things up. So I do appreciate your patience. sincerely. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. This has been so enjoyable. This has been so good. You guys have a lot of amazing questions. I love how curious you are and how much you are really, you know, striving to grasp to the best of your ability everything that's, like deeper, more meaningful questions. It's always good to see. Not that there's any bad questions, all questions are fine, but thank you guys again so much for taking time out of your weekend to join me. I love you all so much. I hope you had fun. I sure did. And until next time, I guess. Take care, you guys.